Okay, I didn't go as overboard this time, guys. You need to be proud of me. I didn't do too much. Wait. I almost passed as normal. Almost. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the stream. How is everyone doing today? I hope you're all doing amazing. I didn't do much. My dress, I put on a dress, but it looks very simple, and it looks purple. It's blue in real life, because I was gonna go for the blue in the cover. Didn't work, because it looks lilac, but it is blue, I promise. It just looks very purple on camera. And I did some makeup. I tried to go for Cleopatra vibes. I don't know if I succeeded, but it's what we have, so welcome. Let me put on my glasses actually so I can actually reach it. I hope you're all doing great. I hope you're all ready, because we got the schedule is packed. We're gonna do a bunch today. So let me go over the stuff that we're gonna do. It's gonna be like I'm gonna avoid some stuff because spoilers, you know. So I will just go by an overall plan of the stream. You look very nice. Thank you. So let me go. Actually, I can stay here for a bit. So first we're gonna do our book discussion just like we did last time. So we're just gonna share our thoughts on the book and everything. Then we have two segments that I'm not gonna say what they are because they're new and it's not something that I did last stream, so just keep on waiting to see what those are. And then we're gonna have a meme segment again because I couldn't resist. I did it last time and I had to do it today as well, so we're gonna have some memes. And then we have another new segment that I'm not gonna say, and that's the plan for the stream. So that's like the overall plan. Are we ready? Because I don't think we are, but let's go. I wrote my thoughts on this today, like 2 hours ago. So even though I should know all of the stuff that I've written down, it's gone. Absolutely gone. So I'm gonna be looking at my tablet, which is over here. So if you see me looking this way and just like reading stuff, that's why, because my memory is shit and I wrote down like by bullet points all of my thoughts on the book. So I'm just gonna go over my bullet points. It's just easier for me. I hope everyone is okay with that. It's just like I did on the other stream that we did for a book discussion. And obviously if you want to say something on chat about like what I'm saying or just your overall thoughts of the book, feel free to do so. If you're trying to answer something that I said and you see me move on, there's a very big stream delay on YouTube, so just feel free to still write it down. I will still want to read them even if I am talking about something else, so you can type down your thoughts either way. Even if I'm not talking about the subject anymore, just send them anyway, because I would love to read them. And with that, I think we are ready to go to our book discussion. Oh, I just realized I showed my book and there's something very obvious here. Something here doesn't look like the original book, don't you think? Like this looks a little different from the reading sprints that I've done. It's had you know, it had the renovation, let's say. It has a new look, and it includes red flags, but we'll talk about those in a bit. Right, so let's start with like explaining what this book is, in case someone is watching this and never read this book. If you are watching this and you never read this book, we're gonna be talking very in depth about this book, and we will most likely be sharing spoilers. So if you don't want to get spoiled, maybe click out of this video or the stream if you are watching this live. Just a little heads up for that. If not, then if you don't care about spoilers, then that's completely fine. I love that. All of Frank's red flags. Exactly. There's a lot of them. All right. So yeah, for if there's anyone new here, this book, I was thinking, should I read the blurb? There is a very nice blurb at the back here, or do I try and explain what this book is about? I think I'm gonna try and explain it. Oh my god. If I do a bad job, I will just, like, if I feel like I'm doing a bad job, I will just read the blurb. But I think I can explain it. So this book, Cleopatra and Frankenstein, unlike what the title suggests, is not actually about Cleopatra and Frankenstein. Maybe that's a turnoff, I don't know. It is about Cleo and Frank, who meet at a New Year's party, and Cleo is 24 or 25, something like that, and Frank is on his 40s, and they quickly they start dating, basically. And I don't think this is a big spoiler, because like it happens on the second chapter. They get married, and it's basically just about their married relationship and the people that surround their inner circle. So like all of their friends, and it's very like slice of life, very following. It follows, like, I think it's 2, is it 1 or 2 years? I think it's 1 year, isn't it? Or like 1.5 years, if anyone knows in the comments. I should have probably taken note of that, but to be honest, because like the chapters start, like the names are the months. You cannot see, there it is. I never read the title of the chapter, because I'm just like, I'm just gonna forget it, it's fine. I'll just be lost. And they always say, like, during the chapters how long it's been since Cleo and Frank got married, so like, do we need to know? I don't think we do. Anyways, it takes place in like, it takes it occurs in like a span of a year or something like that. And it's following their lives. I think that's the best I can do without giving spoilers. Yeah. Alright, let's jump right in, shall we? So, the thoughts that I had about this book before starting. I, just like the other one, actually, I knew less about this one than I did about A Darker Shade of Magic, because I knew few things about A Darker Shade of Magic. This one, I had no clue. I only knew that Jack Edwards really, really loved it, and that was it, honestly. I trust Jack Edwards, and that was basically it. I knew that Jack liked it. I liked the title a lot, and I loved the cover. This is not the original cover. There's like the first one that was released, the hardback. It's so beautiful, and I used to see it on the bookshop, and I was like, oh, this is a gorgeous cover. And I am a sucker for pretty covers. Most of the times I buy books solely because of the covers or the titles. So yeah, I didn't know anything, like I had no idea what this was about. I only found out what this was about when I showed my roommate that I got a new book, so she picked it up, starting reading the blurb, and I was like, oh, so that's what that is about. I had no idea. So I don't know if anyone else had heard about it. I heard, like, besides Jack liking it, I've heard a lot of people saying that it was very good. I saw some people recommend it on TikTok. I don't know if if everyone's experience is similar to that, or if you actually know what you were going into when you picked up this book, because I didn't. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying, like, honestly, I prefer it that way. I prefer not knowing and just be caught surprised. I think that makes it a little funner. Right. So, what I liked about this book, my list, how do I show this? I don't think, do you see how much writing is on there? That's a lot. So, I liked this book, to be fair. Let me start with that. I really liked it. Really liked it. I had never heard of it before. Oh, really? Oh. Well, I'm glad. I mean, if you liked it, then I'm glad I introduced it to you. If you didn't like it, then I'm sorry. I'm sorry I put you through it. But I did see your story when you were, I think it was close to the end of July, and you were saying that you were enjoying it. So at least you had some fun with it. I hope. All right, let's start. So I liked. I know I talked a little bit about this on my streams, like on my reading sprints, and I was like, when I was on chapter 2, I was like, oh, this is quite different from A Darker Shade of Magic because we're only following this from Cleo's POV. And I was so wrong. I was so wrong. It's multiple POVs, and I really, really like that. I love multiple POVs because we get to know a little bit about everyone's lives. And, like, obviously, we have more chapters from Frank's and Cleo's perspective because they are literally in the title, and the book revolves around them. And, like, even the multiple POVs that we have from their friends and stuff, they always come back to Frank and Cleo and Frank. It sounds so weird saying it backwards. Frank and Cleo, who? But yeah, it always comes back to them. So like when it was Quentin, Quentin would talk about Cleo and even about their marriage. So it all comes back to them because it revolves around them, and we are seeing the people who live inside their universe per se. And I like that. I really enjoy that. I feel like it's easier for us to connect to characters if we get to see not just characters necessarily, but like to the book on its whole, if we can connect to not only the main characters but also the other ones that surround them. So I like that aspect a lot. And I know we were complaining about the long chapters because it does have some huge chapters, like 50-page chapter just out of nowhere, just hits you in the face. And I wasn't too big of a fan in the beginning, but then I realized why the author was doing that, because like for characters that we didn't get to see their POV too much, she would give us a longer chapter. So like I think the first Eleanor POV we got, it was like 40 pages. Although let's be real, Eleanor is so easy to read because she has so many breaks in between. Eleanor, you read it so fast. But even for like Zoe, for Santiago, I think we also only get an Ender's POV chapter. For those characters, we get way longer chapters. And once I understood why we had long chapters for those characters, I like that we had long chapters, because even though it takes you a little longer to get through, you really get to know these characters and you get to like know how their brain works, and you get to kind of like, you can pick up those characters and insert them into Cleo's and Frank's lives and like understand how they feel about like the couple in general and how they feel about them like to deeper levels. And I really, really enjoyed that. I must say my favorites are not the main characters. My favorites, I don't know if anyone agrees. Also, I did see your message, Hillary. I'm glad you liked it. But yeah, I don't know if anyone agrees, but my favorites are Zoe, Eleanor, and Santiago. Those are my favorite characters. I don't know if anyone agrees, if that's controversial or not, but those are my favorites. And like, just like I was saying, like, because we have, this is the type of book that it's like, no plot, just vibes. We are just vibing. It's truly a very slow, I mean, it is slow because even though it takes place during a whole year, it feels slow, and it's like nothing is really happening. Obviously there's like major things that happens at times, so like when they get the pet, for example, when they got the sugar glider, for me that felt like a big step in like their relationship, so that for me was a big thing that happened. And like obviously like trigger warning for people, because this is kind of triggering for some people, might be, when Chloe attempts suicide. That was also a very big point in the book. But other than that, like I feel like it's mostly no plots, just vibes. They're your favorites as well. Awesome. But I like when it's no plots, just vibes. I think we've established this. I like that type of book. Because I feel like we got this incredible exploration of just the human condition and like the human life, and we can see how one event in a person's life can be completely different from if you're like someone different. That made no sense. That phrase was nothing. Whoa. Like, we can see, how did I write it here? Wait, maybe my past me wrote it better. One life event can be completely different depending on who's telling it. I wrote it so much better. You know what I mean by that is like, so like Frank's drinking, for example. Like, if we see that from Chloe's POV, obviously I think we all agree with Chloe when it comes to Frank's drinking problem. At least I hope we all do, because it was a problem, right? That man is a alcoholic. But if we see, like, if we take Frank's alcoholism from Cleo's perspective, it's completely different from Frank's perspective on it, because Frank is the one that's going through it, and for him it's not a problem because he refuses to see how that is destroying him and his life. And for Cleo, she sees, like, she sees the actual truth of what's happening. She sees, like, from an outsider's perspective, how that is affecting not just them as a couple, but also Frank as a human being. And I really enjoyed that. Like, I like how she explored the characters, if that makes sense. Think I had no favorite characters, they were all just there. That's fair. That's valid. With that thing of, like, us being able to see the same event from different perspectives, it also makes this book such a masterpiece in having an unreliable narrator, because they're all unreliable. Like, you cannot trust any of the narrators of the characters in this book, because they're only telling their side of the story. They're not telling the whole picture. We can better tell the whole picture when we get to the end, but during it we are completely reading an unreliable narrator the entire time. And I think that's so cool. Like, I don't see that done very well too often, and that's something that I really enjoy. Like, I enjoy that a lot in movies as well. That happens in, I don't know if anyone here has seen Little Women, the one that has Emma Watson. I think it's from 2019. That one is such an amazing, unreliable narrator. Like, right at the end, you can just tell. And that's when, like, they tell you that not everything is always true. And I love that. I love that so much. Also, the atmosphere of this book, I feel like maybe people, like, it's like a little like that, you know? Like, the atmosphere, for me, it was good. Like, the fact that we could just walk through New York, although I feel like a lot of books and movies take place in New York, so maybe it's a little overdone, but I like that aspect. Also, like, can I just ask, why is every street in New York number related? Like 7th Street, 8th Street, 9th Street. I'm like, what? Why are they all numbers? Is that a common American thing? I don't know if anyone here knows, but, like, that was weird. Why is it called like that? On the same page with, like, everything that I've said so far, like with the multiple characters and stuff, we got a very good exploration of different lifestyles and oh yeah, of different lifestyles and how experiences can be felt differently from, like, depending on the character's gender, on their background, on their ethnicity. So, like, we saw a lot of that. I think I can think of an example right now. Like, it's kind of a blur, the book, right now in my head. It's been a few days since I've touched it, so it's like everything is mixed together right now, so it's a little hard to, like, pinpoint something. But it happened all throughout the book, because we could see, like, how Quentin's life was different. I think it was mostly on, like, the portrayal of love, like, of family lives, you know, the love inside family lives, because we could see the difference in character when it came to Cleo and her family and Eleanor and her family, because they were raised completely in like a different way. And Frank says it very simply at the end. Let me see if I can find it. He put it in a very nice way, and I thought it was like he was on the nose with what he said. Let me see if I can find it. Ooh. I don't. Can I find it? Maybe I cannot find it. It's when he's talking to Cleo. So it's the last chapter, and he goes to Cleo. I think she's in Rome, right? Is she in Italy or something? I think she's in Italy, and he goes to her, and she asks him like after the whole thing that happens on where she lives. They go for like a little. They go to a cafe, and they start talking about. Oh, I found it. They did start talking about Eleanor, and he said this. He said, "She grew up feeling safe and fiercely loved." And that to me just summed it up so perfectly, because Eleanor, I don't know if anyone here has watched Gilmore Girls. I'm rewatching it, so it's very fresh in my memory, and that's probably why I made that connection. But Eleanor and her mom's relationship to me is so similar to Lorelai and Rory's relationship. They just seem like they are close in the same way, and just things that Eleanor's mom says. I don't know the lady's name, to be quite honest with you. I just call her Eleanor's mom. But just her humor, everything to do with those two characters reminds me so much of Lorelai and Rory. And I think like Frank coming from a very distant mother, and Cleo having all her problems with her mother, and then having to go live with their dad and her stepmother, who, quite honestly, her stepmother can go. She can go. She can rot. She's awful. So like they both come from like such an unlovable home, like an unlovable family. It doesn't mean that Cleo didn't have love with their mother, because it seemed to me like Cleo's mom was very loving, but she was also very, very mentally ill. And obviously, like, it's very difficult to take care of a child properly if you are in such a deep, in such a bad mental health state in your life, you know, if that makes sense. But they both grew up a little bit insecure because like of their parents, and just not feeling as loved, because after Cleo had to go live with their dad, obviously like the situation wasn't as good, and she was constantly being put down, like being made like she constantly felt that's how I read it, at least. I don't know if anyone else read it like that, but to me it seems like she feels inferior when she's like with her dad and her stepmother. It seems like she feels inferior, that she hasn't accomplished as much as her dad has or her stepmother has, because she's constantly being put against her stepbrother. Is it a stepbrother, half brother? Are they even related? I honestly don't know. Like, is Humphrey also Peter's dad? Is he also a son of Cleo's dad, or did he just come with the stepmother? I honestly, if anyone knows, I don't know. But like, to me, that relationship, like that lunch that they had, that Frank and Cleo had with Cleo's parents, that to me, like the way that Miriam was talking about like comparing Cleo to the youngest child, Humphrey, felt so much. And this is so much. I I compare stuff to other media. They're not related, okay. Thank you. But yeah, I compare stuff to other pieces of media. It's just easier for me. It's just how my brain works. But to me, the way the parents would talk, so like her dad and her stepmother would talk, like compare the two of them, was so similar to the way Monica and Ross's parents talk about them from Friends. Because to them, like, there's this big thing. I think it's bigger on the first season. I think he gets better towards the end. But like in the first season, there's this big thing where Monica always does the wrong things and Ross can do no wrong. Like Ross is their golden child and she's always in the wrong. Oh, Ross might have gotten divorced, but wouldn't it be good if you had gotten married already? You know, that type of thing. And it felt a lot like that to me as well, on like the way Miriam treats Cleo and Humphrey. It's just, you can just tell, like, you can just tell how Dad affected like her coming up, like her growing up, like her person's development, you know. And same thing goes for Eleanor. Like, she, if we compare it to Lorelai and Rory especially, she grew up with so much love. She never felt like she always felt that no matter what she did, she was always going to be loved. Even if she made a mistake, maybe she made a mistake at work or something, or she got fired, she would never stop getting loved just because of that. Because she always has her mother. And her dad, although we don't see much of her dad because he has Alzheimer's, but from the little bit that she tells us about her dad, he did seem like he was a pretty loving dad as well. Alright, where was I? I've been like jumping around my notes, so I'm kind of a little lost right now. Oh, on the same spectrum, my notes are all very similar, but the fact that all the characters were flawed, I really like that, because it's just like real life. Everyone is flawed in real life. Like, everyone is going through something, even if it's something small. Everyone is going through something. No one is perfect. So I like that. I thought it was a very good representation of real life. And honestly, I just like the fact that the characters were rich. Just so we could like hang out in expensive apartments and go to like art galleries and stuff. I like that. I'm calling you a basic bitch, but I like I like that type of thing. I even made a note. It's this little green tab here. This little green tab is I basically took note of every single description of Ender's house in LA, because I was like, that sounds like something fun, something I should do in The Sims 4. So I just like that type of thing, you know. We can vicariously live through the characters. Not that I would want to be like these characters, but the houses are great. In that same sense, Thor was great. The dog, Ender's dog, love him. That sounds so goofy. I was like talking about very deep stuff that happens in the book, and then I'm like, the dog was a highlight for me. The sugar glider was a highlight for me as well. The one that I will not even attempt to pronounce their name, because my god, what was that? Let's go back to deep stuff, shall we? Because all of the rest of my notes are almost all very like deep stuff, I suppose. Just the portrayal of a toxic marriage, I thought it was very well done as well. And the aspect of growing up and experiencing aging by the eyes of other characters, like this was constantly happening, and I thought it was so interesting. It happened at the end. I think I took note of it as well, because it happened all throughout the book. Oh, here it is. It says, as the boy took it away, a minor commotion began to take place on the square. A young couple was running with loose limbs abandon across the large flat stones and laughing loudly, shouting to each other for no reason. It seemed then the joy of being youthful and beautiful somewhere ancient and beautiful. And then they say, they're not much younger than Cleo, Frank thought. They're so much younger than me, Cleo thought. Like, that happens all throughout the book. Like, that constant comparison, because they have such a big age gap. And I thought that was so interesting, because you could see Cleo aging up from Frank's perspective, like how mature she would get from Frank's perspective, who to him Cleo is still such a young person. And then you'd see Cleo aging up from her perspective and her looking back at people younger than her. It happened again when they were on their honeymoon, and she would constantly look at people that were like 20. She's like 24 or 25, and she would look at people that were 20 and she would think, oh, they're so much younger than me, you know. And it's just interesting seeing that constant contrast between the characters. I thought that was so interesting. The fact that they're all flat had me so stressed. I basically love a boring good guy main character. Fair. That's very fair, honestly. I wasn't rooting for them. Like, I knew from the first, there's so many red flags on the first chapter that I knew that they wouldn't last. Also, I think the age difference, like, I'm not against big age differences. I know there's a lot of love, like there can be love. Like, I feel like there's this common thing where people think that, oh, if you're marrying someone so much older than you, it's because you want their money. I feel like that's, even though like that happens sometimes, I feel like that is a little bit stupid to say, because like there can be love. Just because you're marrying someone much older than you doesn't mean you don't love that person. I think there's a very good, again, comparisons, there's a very good portrayal of that in Modern Family. The Gloria and what's his name, Jay, I think it's his name, they have such a beautiful relationship, and she didn't marry him for his money, even though he was much older than her. Like, I think it happens in real life as well. And even though it felt like they had love to begin with, there were so many red flags that I just did not expect it to last. I didn't think they were compatible enough, to be quite honest. I don't think it had to do with their age difference. I think it had to do with them just wanting different things, which honestly most relationships end because of that. But yeah, I completely agree. I was so stressed reading it. My goodness, I was having a great time. I was living for the drama. I was living for the tea. I was stressed at times as well. Don't like when the pet glider died, I was stressed. I was so mad at Frank. I'm pretty sure that's what this big red flag is. Or was this big red flag was either when he killed the sugar glider, or when he had that very big fight when she brought up again alcoholism. It might be that, actually. And he was screaming and stuff, and he was just putting her down, and I was like, this man that ain't it. On that note, I was so annoyed that Frank kept saying Cleo married him for the visa when he was the one that asked her to marry him, and she barely even mentioned the visa. Exactly. And like, there's like a point when they're getting married. Let me see, I think I wrote in the margin where I think it's whenever he's talking, like it starts when they're getting married, like on the second chapter. And I'm pretty sure like I think it's something like he was talking to his friends about Cleo, and he was saying like his friends how it was because of the visa. But before we got to hear from her side, and she was like, oh, I love him, you know, she had some love for him. And he kept putting that down. Where is it? Partial. Oh my god, all of these pages say red flag, partial red flag. Ew. That's like another red flag. That's why there's so many red flag. And I know I wrote it somewhere. I don't know. I don't think I can find it. Yeah, no, I can't find it anymore. I don't think. But yeah, but it's what you're saying. From Cleo's POV, you could see that she actually liked Frank. From Frank's POV, you could also see that he loved her a lot, because there was some instances where he would have this very intense love for her, but then he didn't know how to express that too well, and he would do it in the wrong ways, just bad ways. But yeah, honestly, it just felt very real, and I really liked the writing style. It had so many quirky metaphors. I had a whole color of highlighter. You're not gonna be able. Oh, can you see? It's a pink one. It's just for weird metaphors. There's so many weird metaphors in this, But honestly, I was living. Living for the metaphors. Let's talk about favorite scenes. Does anyone have a favorite scene from the book? Because I have two. I want to talk about them. See if anyone agrees. My favorite scenes were, number one, after Frank gets the sugar glider and he gives it to Cleo, they go to the pet store and they just go batshit crazy at the pet store. And to me, that was so freaking funny. I was laughing the entire time. That poor worker, he had to endure this crazy ass couple, and at the end, he still sold them stuff. Like, that. Your favorite was when they got Jesus. Honestly, be for real. That name. That name was so funny. I was reading that. I sent that to the minor group chat because by the time I read that, Claudia and my cousin had already finished the book. So I got there and I just sent it to the group. Like that scene, I was like, oh, be for real. Be for real. No, you did not give her a sign language name. Please. But I was reading that scene and I was laughing my ass off. I was like, my god, that's hilarious. It's so stupid, but it's so funny. And then the pet scene afterwards, like right after that, I was like, fuck, that's hilarious. Also, my other favorite scene is on chapter 12. It's a conversation between Anders and Santiago. They have this like heart-to-heart conversation, and it's so heartwarming. I thought it was so beautiful. It's like after they go hiking, after they come down from the hike, and they're just sitting in the car talking. That little chat, I could try and find it and read it to you. Let me see if I can find it. It should be chapter 12, chapter 15, 14. It just felt so real, and I thought they really bonded even further than they had already bonded, like through their years-long friendship. And it just felt so special to me, and I really like that scene. Where is it? Chapter 12. Here it is. So it's after Ender's house. It's after this green thing. There it is. Let me read. I have a little some parts highlighted. I can read the highlighted parts, so it's not too much. So like, I'm gonna read some parts of it, not all of it, because otherwise it would be like a lot. But there's a part here in this conversation where Santiago is saying, all this time you treat me like I'm just the fat friend, the sidekick, but I have feelings. I feel a lot. And Anders says, nobody sees you like that, Santiago, except maybe you. And this whole conversation, doesn't matter what I say, I just love this conversation between them. I thought it was so lovely. And like, because they keep going about like this and how he thinks Anders has his life put together. And then he says, oh yeah, I'm doing great, 45, unmarried, in love with my best friend's wife. You didn't even want to stay with me. It's okay, I get it. The worst part is Jonah won't come. I sent him a ticket and everything. Why not? He's mad at me for leaving, I guess. I've been a shitty stepdad or whatever I am to him. It's not like I had the best examples. You know, my parents have never once visited me in America. 26 years I've lived here. And then he says, no one loves me, he said, not really. It was just so heartbreaking, but it felt like they were breaking our heart and then putting it back together. It was just so special. So special. So that was my other favorite scene. I talked a lot about stuff that I liked. Let's talk about what I didn't like. I'm getting like through my list. So what I didn't like. I feel like for a lot of people this book will be very hard to read because there's a lot of hard subjects in this. So I definitely recommend reading the content warnings. I made a whole content warning list for my book, just in case like I borrow it to someone, so they know what's in it and stuff like that. So I just took note of everything and I made a very big list. So definitely, if you're gonna recommend this to someone, tell them to read the content warnings, because it's a lot sometimes. Also, the spicy scenes, there were like 2 spicy scenes. They both made me uncomfortable. Like, I don't know, I'm not a very big spicy reader, but like those just, I don't know, they felt weird to me. I mostly skipped them. Like, also that scene where like Anders is talking to his stepson, like at the cafe. If you know, you know. That scene, disgusting. And some scenes, like some parts dragged a lot as well. Like, not a lot, they dragged a little. Like, it wasn't a lot, but it did dragged a bit. Those were like the parts that I didn't enjoy, which wasn't a lot, taking into account. Like, I liked this book a lot, because it wasn't obvious. Like I said before, I said your favorite scene. Now, can you choose the saddest scene from the book? Do you have a saddest scene? Because I also took note of 2. The first one is in chapter 11. After, it's when Cleo and Quentin go to these families' house to get a vacuum cleaner. That sounds so funny, just saying it like that. Period. That's it. No. And like, Cleo is looking at this family. They're about to have a child. The woman is pregnant, and she's looking at the family, and she envies them, and she wants to have what they have, even though what they have is quote unquote a boring life. She wants to have that, and Quentin just makes her feel so bad, and like, he tells her that she will never be deserving of a life like that. He says that they're not those type of people. And what's sadder to me on that scene is that like, at first she's like a little, she like fights against what he's saying, but then she keeps thinking about it, and she comes to the conclusion that he's right, that she doesn't deserve that type of love, which is so sad. She definitely deserves that type of love. She just needs to find the right person, right? Because I don't know if anyone else felt sad about that scene, but that to me was devastating. I was so sad about how Quentin's story ended. Like, why did that need to happen? I agree. That was, I expected something completely different from Quentin. I was hoping that we would get to explore more of him coming to terms with being trans, but we didn't get any of that. And the ending for him, I totally agree. It felt very unsatisfactory. Is that how you say that? It didn't feel satisfactory. I think I said that word correctly, maybe. The other is a very small scene, and I can read it to you. And it's after Eleanor's dad passes away. She finds this poetry book that he had annotated, and that he wrote little stuff on there. And she reads that, and that to me was so sad as well. It's page 326. 320. Here it is. It says, I'm reading to my father from one of his dog-eared volumes of collected poems when I stop at a page faintly marked with pencil. He has underlined 2 stanzas of a Derek Walcott poem very finely, almost tentatively, as though trying not to muss up the page. Days I have held, days I have lost, days that outgrow like daughters my harboring arms. Next to them is a faded check mark, a restrained little check, my heart. That, my god. My god. But yeah, okay. After all of that, my rating for this book, I don't think will come as a surprise. I gave this 4.5 stars. It just wasn't a 5 because like all the stuff I've said, and like what Hillary has said, what both of you have said, honestly. Oh, I'm pointing this way because my chat for me is there, but you're here. What you have said. But it was still a very high read for me. Shall we get to the fun stuff? Oh my god. Okay, first segment of the day. Is everyone ready? Let's so I think we can all agree that Frank is not the best character ever, right? Kind of a hateful man. I liked how his story ended. I liked that he stayed with Eleanor at the end. They seemed like they might be right for each other. I liked that he fixed his alcoholism problem at the end as well. It took him like Cleo almost taking her life for him to do that, but still good that he did that. But I think we can all agree that overall he's not the best character. So here I present look at this graph. This is my Frank love and hate relationship, with 0 being I hate him and 100% being I love him. So as you can see, I don't think of him too highly. And like talking about those red flags that I have. Also, I want to point out that the lowest one, I'm pretty sure the lowest. What happened first? Did the sugar glider die first, or did he have that big fight with Cleo first? Whichever one it was, that lowest peak is one of them. It's either the sugar glider or it's the big fight. It's gonna be this big red flag that I have in my book, because the others are like smaller, and then I have a gigantic red flag. Speaking of red flags, there are exactly 25 red flags that I've counted on this book, which means that 7% of this book is a red flag. Wait, I need to change the music. I keep forgetting. Last time I also forgot to change the music, because we're getting into the funnies. We are getting into the funny section of the stream. We need appropriate music. We need the funnies. Perfect. Okay. Alright. So that was segment number 1. I hope you liked it. I made a graph. I made a graph just for you. And now, second new section. Remember how I talked about how there's some very quirky metaphors? We have now reached the quirky metaphor section. There are exactly, that I took note of at least, there's 48 metaphors in this book that I took note. Again, if some of these are not actual metaphors, I'm not good at grammar, I never was, so if some of these phrases are not actually metaphors, just humor me and tell me that they are, okay? Because in my head, they sound like metaphors. Right, I chose the 5 best ones, in my opinion. And I'm not gonna read the first one, and you will understand why, but I'll read the next ones. Okay, shall we go? Let's go! Oh, let me take off chat so you can actually see what's happening. I also put them in inspirational quotes backgrounds, because I thought that was appropriate. So yeah, I'm not gonna read this one. You can read it. Just because I have housemates, and I don't want to say... I don't want to say this out loud, to be quite honest. I think that's a little weird. So I hope you've read it. Next one. Oh, wait. Forgot. I have to click on the PowerPoint. There we go. This one's accurate. What is a wedding? Cleo wondered. If not a private dream made public, a fantasy suspended between 2 worlds like a cat's cradle. Like, not that these are completely... I don't think they're bad. Some of them are very good. It's just that cat's cradle? Really? Like, it sounds so nice, the first part, and then cat's cradle. Cradle, whatever, however you say it. By the time Cleo arrived, Zoe was settled on a hospital bed like a supine or supine, I don't know, supine Medusa, a dozen electrodes sprouting in coils from her head. I just thought that was a very nice visual, kind of quirky, kind of weird, but nice, right? Kind of a nice metaphor. Next one. When Frank introduces me, his gaze slides over me like he's scanning a news article. He has realized too late. What? I think I wrote this wrong. He has realized too late is of no interest to him. I think it's I'm of no interest to him, but must somehow finish. Well, you know, I made the PowerPoint look scuffed, so that if I was scuffed, then it would be on brand, you know, so it's fine. We're good. Last one. Watching Cleo compose her face is like watching a vase chatter backwards. All the pieces suddenly zoom back together. Honestly, I really like this one. So that was the second segment. I hope you liked it. We are now approaching the meme segment. Is everyone ready for the memes? They are a little niche this time. I really went in depth into the characters, some might say. There's like a little dark humor in there. So please don't be offended with me. In my head it was funny. I hope it's funny for everyone else as well. It's not like super bad stuff, I don't think. You'll see. Yep. This one's not too bad. Like, come on. Then we have this one. I don't have a drinking problem. Sure, Frank, let's get you to bed. Also not too bad. This is why I brought up Lorelai and Rory, just so it would make sense with these memes as well. This is a direct quote from the book, and I thought this was the most Lorelai and Rory stuff that I've ever read. It says, "So what did you think? Bet you'll never look at a bonsai tree the same way again, hey? This is what we call a waste of space, a waste of time. And this is what we call an asshole." That's no words needed. POV. This is the dark humor, okay? If anyone's sensitive, this is a little bit of dark humor, alright? POV. Frank kills Jesus. Need I say more? This one, this is very niche. If you didn't read the book, it's fair. Even if you read the book, I would completely understand if you didn't get this, because this is from a little part in one of Zoe's chapters. I just thought it was so stupid, so I drew it basically. Help! I'm stuck, dude. Hold on, I got you. Now we're both stuck, dude. Exactly. But shh. Exactly, dude. I just thought it was funny, to be quite honest. Oh, I made a video. I really put my all into this stream. My god. Let me take myself out of the picture. Or do I need to do that? I'm not gonna do that. You can deal with my face. I'm Chandler. You know, to be fair, I am Chandler. So
I mean, I could write slogans. I mean, how hard could it be, right? Cheese. It's milk that you chew. Crackers, because your cheese needs a buddy. A grape, because who can get a watermelon in your mouth?
I got one. Socks, because your family's feet deserve the best.
Honey, leave it to the pros.
oh, this is also dark humor. I mean, no, this is not dark humor. Okay, I hope that wasn't too bad. I could not see chat during the entirety of that, so I hope it's good. I hope no one's offended. Okay. Let me look at chat. I need to bring up chat. There it is. Okay, I feel like y'all are enjoying it. Good. I'm glad. We've come to the end of the meme segment. I hope you liked it. Now it's time for a new segment. This is actually live, so you can make yours as well, and then we can share. we can share your results on Discord. I made a tier rank list for the characters. I'm sure I forgot some characters, but I tried my best. Okay, my memory is shit as is. The fact that I remember these many characters, good job, honestly. Good job on me. I am quite proud of myself for that. I'm gonna send the link on chat. So if anyone wants to do it, you can. Let me. Okay. Actually, how do I send the message in chat? Oh, there. That's how I send it. There it is. All right, let's tier rank. Oh, I clicked the wrong thing. There. Yeah, no, I am on the right place. Let's tier rank these characters from amazing, show-stopping, never done before. My compliments to the chef. They're just mid. He's just Ken. Needs to go, and I don't know him. As in, I literally don't remember this character at all. Alright, shall we start? Also, there were no good pictures, so I thought I'm just gonna draw very shitty stick figures for every single one of them. But then I realized there were too many, so I started just writing their names afterwards. And then at some point, it just got a little bit more niche. So this is Jesus. Because you didn't know. The Camp Rock is Jesus, okay? A sentence I never thought I would say ever. Oh, let me bring back chat into here. Oh, there we go. Okay, and that's Eleanor's mom, cause that's Lorelai. That's Eleanor's dad. That's Guy. Honestly, this guy can go here. I have no idea who he is. He appeared for like a page or something. I don't remember him. I just know that people would pronounce his name wrong, and I pronounced his name wrong just now. I think it's Guy, not Guy. Guy. And there's Humphrey. We also don't know him, to be quite honest. Humphrey, I put a photo of Ross because I thought it was appropriate. Which honestly, if we go by what Miriam was saying about Humphrey, Humphrey sounds like a mummy's boy. Which, it's not necessarily a bad thing. I have a confession. I don't know if this is gonna be controversial. I know it is. But my favorite Friends character is Ross. Which I know is super controversial. Because everyone hates Ross. I just think he's funny. I don't know. Like, I don't agree what he did to Rachel. But I think he's funny. Like, I don't know. I'm not gonna explain myself further. Alright, let's go. Amazing show. Let's just go in order, actually. So, Cleo. I think Cleo goes to my compliments to the chef, to be quite honest. Frank, honestly, he's just Ken. Right? He's just Ken. Anders, I have a confession to make. He might be a fuckboy. He might have helped cheating on his best friend, but he's kind of hot. I don't know. Like the visual when Santiago gets to his home in LA and he's just like wearing linen pants with the big fluffy golden retriever dog. I'm like, that's kind of. Do I fuck with that? Maybe. I'm gonna put him in there. Sorry. Santiago, amazing show-stopping, never done before. Same for Eleanor. Same for Zoe. Quentin, I expected so much more from this character. I really thought I was gonna love him. He's mid. Is mid. Miriam needs to go. Peter needs to go. Jonah, honestly, Jonah needs to go as well. That scene at the cafe that he was talking to Anders about, disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. You're 13. Chill out. Jonah's mom, we don't really know her, do we? I don't think we do. So, I don't know him. Frank's dad, we literally do not know him. Thor, amazing, show-stopping, never done before. I think we all agree. Jesus. My compliments to the chef for Jesus. Same thing for Eleanor's mom. My compliments to the chef. I really like Eleanor's mom. I think she's hilarious. Eleanor's dad. Honestly, I think he's pretty good, but I don't think he's good enough to be on my compliments to the chef. Because we only got to see his, like, the part of his life where he was at a hospital already and, like, almost dying. I think if we had gotten more from him, it would have been on my compliments to the chef. But because not, they're just mid. Oh, I completely forgot about this character. This is gonna sound very out of nowhere now. Jiro Tanaka, amazing show-stopping, never done before. Absolutely love him to death. Love that guy. I didn't mention him at all during the book discussion, but I really liked him. He was really good, really cool, really nice guy. Really liked that. Marshall? Who's Marshall? Oh, Audrey's boyfriend. Honestly, he's just Ken. He keeps saying like these one-sentence phrases. One sentence, that made no sense, but you know what I mean. He keeps saying like these could be on a Walmart type of phrases. It's okay. He's just Ken. Audrey, honestly, Audrey, she's just Ken as well. Alex needs to go. Danny, honestly, the very little that we got from Danny's the artist. Like that Cleo goes to like his art show at the end where she dumps water on top of Ender's head. That one, that's that artist. The little bit that we got from him, it seemed very nice. But we didn't get enough from him. So they're just mid. Jackie. Who's Jackie? That is so small. Oh, it says works with Frank. Oh, it's the older lady that works with Frank. They're mid. You know? She doesn't do much. But she's not awful. She's mid. Stacy the nurse, however, my compliments to the chef. We barely saw her, but I loved her. God bless her. Mike. Honestly, Mike needs to go. I don't like Mike at all. And Levi is Eleanor's brother. I really liked Eleanor's brother, actually. I thought it was funny when he went there for the funeral and stayed there for a while. Like with when she dropped his vase and he, like, wasn't mad at her or anything. He just like started repairing it and doing like the Japanese art style thing of repairing a vase. He's cool. I think he's awesome. So I think he's gonna go on my compliments to the chef. And I think that's my list. I don't know if anyone agrees with it, but that's my list. If anyone wants to do that list, you can do it as well, and you can drop it on Discord if you want me to see it. You don't need to if you don't want me to see it, but if you want me to see it, you can drop it on our Discord. Maybe on Minder, or yeah, you can put it on Minder. That's fine. You can put it there. And that was it. That was the segments I had prepared. I hope you liked it. I hope it was okay. I hope you had fun. And I think this is gonna be it for the stream, guys. I think this is it. I think I've done it. I've done it. Right. I hope you liked this. I hope you had fun. And I hope you didn't have too bad of a time reading Cleopatra and Frankenstein. And with that, I'm going. This music playing, I need to change playlist before I go, because it sounds like I'm just memeing, doesn't it? Like, how can you take me seriously with this music playing? Right? Let me, okay, there it is. Better playlist. More appropriate. I'm having trouble with it on my iPad, but I'll try again later. Alright. Awesome. Alright, with that, I hope everyone has a lovely week, And if you haven't yet, go watch Heartstopper season 2. If you have watched it, go rewatch it. And I will see you on Wednesday. Goodbye, everyone. Bye bye. Oh, that was the wrong cam. Well, I guess I have to wave big now. Bye bye.